Hey, my name is Coach AK, and this is actually the first webinar with Impact Today. And I am founder and the creator of Empowered to Play. Now, Empowered to Play is a 501c3 nonprofit where we use sports as a tool to bring communities together. And this is actually our very first episode. And what bigger than to bring a two-time Olympian, right? About knows how to bring communities together, because since the beginning of time, people know that Olympics has always brought people together. And I'm really happy to bring one of my good friends on the show that's going to be talking about igniting your creative genius, two-time Olympian in the 2012 and 2008 Olympics. He has 2 master's degrees and is also the lead creative director at Sinvista Creations. How are you doing, Selim?
I'm doing good, man. And I just want to say it's an honor to be put on here and to be your first athlete. Speaker. I hope the first one's the best one, but, I'm probably the guinea pig.
No, I mean, there's a lot to you, Selim. You're doing a lot of stuff. And not only did I say you've done 1 Olympics, not 2 Olympics, but you're actually working on your 3rd. But just tell me, who is Selim? Tell me a little bit more about yourself. I know you, but let everybody else know who you are.
Well, to tell you who I am somebody who, I guess I'm thinking of myself as a Renaissance man. I'm somebody who, you look at what I do, and I do a lot of things, but it's not just those things that define me. It's the creativity within me. I'm a creative person, but I'm a hard worker. My parents came here, they immigrated here, and they got into the field of medicine. You see a lot of that in terms of Nigerians, and they look at it as opportunity. And medicine is not the easiest way, but it is it has a lot of, you don't have it. I work hard. So I was raised in that kind of environment where you focus on your schoolwork so you can go down that path that's been laid out. But me, I've been a creative since I was young. So ever since I was like that, I've been wanting to do things my way. So that's what kind of brought me to start my own business, pursue my dreams of the Olympics, and even publishing a comic book. I've been drawing since I was a young age. That's how my talent and my creativity manifested. And that kind of dictates who I am. Everything I do kind of revolves around creativity and striving to bring out the best in me.
Well, I know your parents, right? I know your background, especially in, we'll say, the Nigerian culture where they expect you to be, doctors, these pharmacists. And now you've come on a little bit on a different path. You're the athlete, you're a designer. So how were you able to forge your own path, especially when you might have had people saying you should pursue this particular direction?
Well, that was an interesting question, because with especially my parents, sometimes they can be your biggest supporters and your biggest doubters at the same time. So it's like, for you to convince them that the path you're taking is the right path, you kind of have to show them that what you're doing is creating results. So everything I was doing, even if I was telling my parents, yeah, I want to run the Olympics, or I want to start my own business, or I want to patent this product or switch majors, they were like, okay, but that goes against everything that we came here to do and the path we laid out to you. So the fact that I was able to excel at that allowed them to trust my plan and accept that what I was doing, it's innate to me. That's my path, and I'm going to be successful at it, because the hard work that they put in, it shows itself in me, and everything that I put in that makes me me. So that kind of helped me with, my parents' side and, some of the naysaying and all that.
Okay, I know one of the things that you are, you're the creative director at Sinvista Creations.
Yes.
Right? And I'll be honest with you, you're a designer, but for me, I'm trying to become a better drawer, a better designer. The only thing I can really do is stick figures. Do you believe that anybody can actually learn how to draw to be a designer?
Oh, I believe so, because you say your figures. Every drawing I do of a character starts with stick figures. So you're almost there. You're on the right path. But I do believe that anybody can be a great designer, but you have to be able to pull that thing inside of you that makes you you. You have to be able to pull that out and put it into your work. With me, the easiest way to pull that out was drawing. I've been drawing since I was 3. It makes it way easy for me to get my ideas across, conceptualizing everything. And then I can also, by drawing, I'm also able to bring some life to my work that you wouldn't be able to see out there. So my work doesn't look like clip art. My work looks like art, even though it's a logo for like a corporation or something like that. Quality that comes out when I do my work because of how I was raised and the things I was interested in. I basically put me on the paper, and that's what makes me a great designer. I believe that anybody can have the skill, but the question is, what is it that's going to make you great? It's just pulling that thing that's inside of you. It's going to be that spirit.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of us, we're trying to find what makes us stand out, right? And there's a lot of designers out there. Like, what is your design process? And how does that make that different from, we'll say, other designers out there?
Well, I can't really speak for most designers because, I mean, everybody has their own process. But I know for me, and it's my favorite part of the process, is sitting there and drawing ugly drawing after ugly drawing and drawing them fast, just turning out the ideas. Because I treat every design almost like a math problem. Because in my mind, it's like there's this thing at the end of the tunnel. There is this solution to whatever I'm designing. There is this beautiful solution that is the best solution. And all I need to do is get there and just figure out what I'm gonna do to get there. And once I get there, it's like, okay, I know I got here and I got here in the most creative way possible. So that's my process. I start with just drawing, cranking out drawings, fast drawings. I don't touch the computer. Only thing I do is I put that pencil to the paper and I let my imagination roam free. I try to create something that nobody's ever seen. And once that's done, then I start getting into the normal routine of a designer, where now you scan it to a computer, you add color, shading, all that kind of stuff. Vectorize it after that, and then get it to them in the right format. So, but definitely the most strategic part for me is the beginning, is when you're sketching everything out and it's just pen and paper. So we take it back to, back to the original, just drawn, pen and paper, nothing else.
So, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people go through this. We have these mental blocks where we want to be creative. We want to try to put that pen to paper, but sometimes it's like, I'm stuck. I don't know where to start. And that could be writing that first blog article, writing a story. That could be, for you, designing an image or a picture or a logo. So when you face that block, what is it that you do to get over that hurdle?
I do a couple things. It's funny you mentioned blog, because you know me, I don't like writing at all. I don't like writing blogs, but the toughest thing for me, what I do to deal with that is I will sit there and I will beat my head into the wall, and then I won't get anywhere. So what helps me is, like, if I have to go train, I train in the evenings. So I'll leave my work and I'll go do my training. My mind just completely goes to a different realm. So once I come back, my mind is refreshed and I'm able to keep on going. Another thing that helps is I put me into that equation. So if I'm creating something, I try to put some of Selim, what makes me me. I try to put some of that into my creativity. So let's say I'm stuck on a logo. I can't figure out why it's not working. I can't figure out a solution to my problem. So, I'll be like, okay, let me think of something that appeals to me. Let me think of something that I normally do that nobody would normally do. I just try something, because sometimes when you're the freest, that's when you come up with the best answers, or that's when you come up with the best solutions. It's just like running. Sometimes you run best when you're carefree. So I just get really carefree, and the solution just comes out through when the clutter falls away.
Well, when we're talking about running, and something that we haven't really touched on is your background in running, right? You were an All-American athlete at the University of Notre Dame. You've also had, not one Olympics, but two, when you're going on your third, right? How did you actually start getting into running, and how has that progressed for you?
I started running. I mean, that's the first sport that anybody does, is when you're racing your brothers and sisters and racing kids on the playground. That was my first thing. I've always been, fast and good at running. Then I got exposed to hurdling when I was in junior high, and I was good at it. So I just kept on doing and kept on getting better. And as I got better at that, I kind of, got more focused on that event, and some of the other events I kind of started to let go. I went, and when I went to college, I got a scholarship to go to the University of Notre Dame, the best university in the world. And what I learned was, I learned that, I had to do a lot of different things to get ahead, because there were people all over the country. And now from high school, you could see, like, this time this person ran this time, so you had a benchmark that you were trying to hit every week. So everything I was doing was kind of, chasing after that. Everything I was doing was evolving after getting better, and that was a great segue into running professionally. So after college, I started running for Nigeria, and I didn't look back. I think my progression, my hard work, I think, dropped my time, and it's just on a path to where it's like, okay, you're good enough to do it. And I was with it. I didn't feel like I did everything I could in the sport when I was leaving college. So I was like, I'd be a fool not to pursue it. I got to see how far it goes. And that's kind of what pushed me from one Olympics and on to the next Olympics, and now trying to go to the third.
Well, I mean, you're using the word Olympics like it's just going out for a walk in the park. Like, explain that experience, because some people, their whole lives are trying to get to that stage. Some people are just trying to get to college, but we're talking about the Olympics, something that happens every 4 years. Okay, so explain that. I mean, just how is that feeling? How is the opening ceremonies? How is it just being in that environment when you have people from all over the world?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this of the Olympics before opinion, because I don't want to bring everybody down. But it was an electric feeling. That's the only way I can describe it. I only went to the opening ceremonies of the Beijing Olympics, but it is an electric feeling when you walk into that stadium and you see all the different people from the different countries and the fireworks and everything. It was amazing. I can't even describe it. And you see all these people that are just there, athletes, athletes that you would see on TV. They're in the same place as you. They're there to chase their dreams just like you are. And it was an amazing feeling. It's kind of like you are in this part of the world that's just separate from everything else. Everything is revolving around the Olympics. You got the cafeteria, you have, all the facilities. Everything is centered around that. And then, once you're done running, you're able to go explore the different countries and stuff like that. Like, I got to run on the Great Wall, and then I got to go to downtown London, all those kind of things. It's an amazing experience, and I understand the hype of it. Why everybody's like, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Now, for me, I felt a little different way, and I say the Olympics, and you said that I kind of make it seem a little underwhelming. I guess I wasn't chasing the Olympic experience. I guess I was chasing a feeling of competing at my best, no matter where I was. So when I went into the Olympics, I went into it like, this is another meet. And it's a double-edged sword, because you go in and you can compete and you're not overwhelmed by all the hype and all that. But at the same time, you do miss a little bit of the experience, because you don't get to sit back and really, really enjoy it. But you do at the end. But at the beginning, when you're getting ready to run and the days are leading up to your event, I'm laser focused. I'm dialed in. So that's why I come at it from a little different, different point of view. So I don't think anybody should take my experience and use it as theirs. But I'm chasing an experience. I'm chasing a level that I want to compete at. I want to be at this level of greatness. And the Olympics is just part of it. The Olympics is just a place where I want to operate on that level. That's kind of how I would approach it.
Right, and that's a high level. And like me, if none of you know, I actually was running, and me and Selim actually traveled throughout Europe together. So for me, I understand that world a lot. But I'm saying, if anybody's on the call has any questions for Selim about that experience, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's the Olympics as well. But ideally, it's a high place to be.
Yes.
And for you, you're training for the Olympics.
Yes.
You are the the founder and the lead creative director at Sinvista Creations. First and foremost, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that momentarily. And you also went to school and got 2 master's degrees.
Yes, I did.
Like, how are you able to balance all of this? It seems like there's so much going on. How do you balance it all?
Listen, I'm obsessive compulsive. I got to do everything in 2. You know what? It is this almost unending pursuit of greatness and bettering myself and adding sticks to the fire, waiting for that one stick that's just going to blow the whole thing apart. That's kind of what fuels me. It's like I wasn't chasing, I got to go to the Olympics, because if I just did that, then I wouldn't have tried for 2012. I wouldn't be trying for, the one that's coming up. It's an unending, it's this insatiable feeling that I have not done enough. Even you tell me, it's like, man, you've done a lot, man. Look at what you've done. And sometimes it is hard for me to look over my shoulder to see what I've done. It wasn't until, I start to write like a bio of myself or something, and I see like, okay, I've done a little bit. But sometimes it's hard, because if you just focus on, okay, I did that, but I didn't get to where I wanted to get to. It's like, sometimes you gotta keep on going. You don't know. You shoot for the moon, you might hit a star. So that's kind of how I operate, and that's why I have so much things going on that I've done in the past. It might look like, oh, he's scatterbrained, but no, I think everything is working as pieces to the puzzle, and they have played their part in helping mold me into what I want to be, the creative director that I want to be, and it's allowed me to operate my business the way I am.
Well, we're talking about your business. It's called Sinvista Creations. To be honest, I've never heard of those words together in one, Sinvista Creations. So how did that idea come about, that name for Sinvista Creations?
Well, Sinvista is it's a Spanish term. It means viewless or without sight. And I kind of implemented that because when I do design, the design doesn't come from my eyes. It comes from something within. And another thing is, they tell you, like, when you walk with faith, you walk without seeing. It's like your faith is what guides you, not what you see in front of you. And that's how my designs are. Everything about it, my business, me being able to do this and go against the grain of my culture and my family. It's a faith walk, and that's why I revolve my business around that. That's why I have that as the name of my business.
So for you, you're doing a lot of stuff. You're doing the business, you're doing the athletics, you're finished with the school. But for some, the stuff that you're doing, some people just do one of those, just one. Like, I'm just going to train for the Olympics, put all my focus into that. I'm just going to start a business. I'm going to put all my focus into that. I'm going to do school. I'm just going to put all my focus into that. But you're doing all of these. Like, what keeps you motivated and driven?
Because I want it all. I want it all. And I remember a coach of mine would tell me, it's like, the reason why they're doing this is because they put everything they have into that. And I'm like, listen here, I don't think that there's anything wrong with wanting it all. I don't think there's anything wrong with me wanting a successful business and trying to end up on the podium of the Olympics. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's what separates the good from the great. I think the great are just willing to go for it all, and they're willing to die for it all. But most importantly, they're willing to admit that they want it all. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So when how do I juggle that? It can be a juggling act in terms of hours of the day, because sometimes I wish I had 100 hours in a day, so I could just do everything I wanted.
Yeah, some people wish you had less. Some people wish I wish I had like 12 hours in a day. I want to go to sleep.
No, I wish I had 100 hours in the day. I wish I could slow down time. Sometimes I just be sitting there thinking, like, man, if I could slow down time, I had a room where time wouldn't pass in here, or time would pass out somewhere, it would pass somewhere. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. Time would pass slower, so I could do everything I wanted to do in here. Or I had, that little pill they had in what was that? Where he took the pill and he used more of his brain. I forget the name of it. It escapes me.
It's called Limitless.
Yeah, if I had that pill, I would remember that name. But yeah, stuff like that. And I just feel like there's nothing wrong with wanting it all, wanting to achieve your dreams. I don't think that anybody was put here just to have one dream. But I do think that there's a myth that's been perpetuated that, oh, you can only do one thing. And if you try to do anything more, the others are gonna distract you. But no, I just think that people haven't figured out how to connect the dots of how this is helping this, or that's connecting that. You know, everything I do is connected. My creativity, there's a reason why me being creative in my design work, it helps how me being creative on the track. Because there are certain things that I can see and I'll be willing to try that I wouldn't try if I didn't have a visual mind, a visual and creative mind, and vice versa. You know, hurdles, that, you know, that's everybody uses that term, going through the hurdles of life. So it just, they just work together.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're talking about a lot. And with all of these, there's always comes a moment, you know, you're talking about jumping over those hurdles or going through those barriers, but usually those barriers come at really important moments. That might be, hey, you're on the line, the gun's about to go off, and it's the difference between victory and defeat. You know, in track and field, there is a time that the gun goes off, and whether or not you're ready or not, you got to go.
Right.
And the same thing can go, you might have an important presentation you got to give at work. Where this presentation or this pitch is the difference between whether you're going to get that funding or you're going to go at home and, you know, pitch to 100 more times.
Right.
So for you, what is that? Like, how do you find that composure when everything is on the line? And it's not only about, you know, when that gun goes off and you got to move, but that's also when that gun goes off to be successful and find that victory. What is that composure that you do? How do you get there?
Well, for me, I know that if I leave everything up to that moment, then I'm probably going to fail. If I'm like everything revolves around this moment right here, I'm probably going to fail. But because I know how hard I work and how passionate I am and how much this stuff I do and it revolves around my life and how much time I spend designing and, you know, working on my branding, how much time I spent on the track, working on my start and getting off the hurdle. When I step on that line, I am able to just hit and just go, because I have to trust that my passion and hard work will see me through the end. I basically disassociate myself from the results. So it doesn't matter if I have a bad race. It doesn't matter if a project didn't get accepted or, you know, appointed. It doesn't matter. Everything happens for a reason. And as long as I know that I gave it my all through my work and I pursued my passion to the fullest, then I know that everything happened for the right reason. And, you know, that's the kind of mentality that you have to have. You want to succeed because you don't get into it, but down to the results of it. Even when you do win, even when you are successful, I just put it in the vault along with everything else. So you win everything. You win when you do well, because it's like you did well. So, you know, you got to celebrate. When you lose, you learn more from when you lose than when you win. So you still win. But you just can't get so tied that you don't see the lesson in the loss. So as long as you keep that, then, you know, you can go in and not be tied down, failure or anything like that. You always come out on top or one step ahead.
Well, you're saying something that's really important, you know, and some people, I think track and field or even the hurdles or, you know, certain situations in life, right? Yes. How do you go through that hurdle? How do you get through that point of failure when, you know, you had an amazing idea and people just weren't excited about it? Or you wanted to really win that race, but you ended up getting last place. Like, how do you find yourself to get back to, you know, getting back out of that slump or out of that defeat and saying, this is going to be a learning lesson and I'm going to fight another day?
Well, here's the thing, and it's what separates people that press on and people that quit. If that feeling of you want to do better, you want to get to the end, you want to get past this, is greater then the feeling of defeat that you feel, then that's what fuels you. There are times when I want to quit. I have never wanted to quit track so much. I swear every week I want to quit track. Like there's at least 2 times each week that I've wanted to quit track. And I never felt like that before this year. So it's like, but the feeling of I'm not done. It's not done with me. That feeling is stronger than my feelings of wanting to quit each week. So it's like a balance. It's a balancing act. So it depends. Like if one feeling is greater than the other, then you're going to quit. If the other feeling is greater, then you're going to keep on going. And that's kind of how I proceed in life and in hurdles. I'm not able to jump every hurdle the right way. So it's like, what am I going to do? I got to adjust. And I got to keep on going. And that's the same thing in life. When things don't go your way, I can't just stop and step out the lane. I got to adjust and I got to keep on going. So that's how you can have track, and that's how you can have life, and they're intertwined. You can use them analogously.
You're doing a lot of stuff, and obviously in terms of Selim, what we've talked about, especially going for the Olympics, getting these multiple degrees. What else is there? Trying to be this entrepreneur, starting this business. When is Selim going to be like, you know what? I'm good. I've done enough. Like, where's Selim 10 years from now?
Selim, 20 years from, you said 20 or 10?
Is the answer going to be good? Because 10, you're gonna try to be there 10, then you can't be 20. We'll go 10 years from now.
Well, 10 years from now, I hopefully will not be running. But I often joke that Nigerians don't retire. And I don't see myself retiring. I got too much going on up here to be sitting still. So I don't see myself not doing something creative. I don't see myself not teaching somebody something, how to bring out their potential. So I see myself maybe not grinding the way I'm grinding in my business. Maybe I'm more of a venture capitalist, where I'm, helping other people fund their businesses, or, helping them with their businesses. So either way, I want to be doing something creative, thinking outside the box. And I think all my competitive spirit that comes out of track and field is going to kind of manifest itself in a different way later on. I might not, enough is enough. I don't even know what that feels like to even say how it's going to be. This is all I know. The grind is all I know. The pursuit of greatness is like all I know. So I just don't see that going anywhere anytime soon.
That's good. I mean, it's that hustle. It's that drive.
Oh, yeah.
From everything you've done, what are you the most proud about? What are you the most happy about?
Yeah. Oh, man. Honestly, the thing that I am most proud about is that I have never had a 9-to-5. Somehow, some way, I have stayed alive this long after college without having to go do a 9-to-5. That is probably the greatest thing I've accomplished. I have been able to live out my dreams by pursuing my talents and my passion without having to do something that I hated to do.
Right.
My great, you probably thought I was going to say, run at the Olympics. No, it's not. I think this is the most fulfilling achievement that I myself have, that I feel. And I think that it's only going to continue to grow. Then I'm going to be like, you know what? I've made it through this long. I've taken care of my family, put my kids through college, and I'm blessing other people's lives, other people that are working for me. They're pursuing their dreams and they're being able to achieve their dreams, all because I pursued my passion. Then it's just gonna continue to culminate, continue to grow.
Okay, so you're talking about that 9-to-5. I'm not saying a 9-to-5 is bad.
Nothing wrong with a 9-to-5.
No. But I think some of us, if some of us we all want to take that leap, that jump. It may be getting out of the 9-to-5 rut. It may be, hey, I want to lose a few extra inches off my waist. There's so many different things that some of us want to do.
Yes.
How do you get over that hump? Say, you know what? I think that I'm going to try this entrepreneurial endeavor. Or do you recommend everybody to do it?
I don't recommend everybody to do it because not everybody is built to do that. I know me, and there are times when it's like, darn it, man, this business isn't working out the way it needs to. I just need to go get a job. And then I'll start looking at jobs. It literally happens like every other month. I'll be looking at jobs, and I'll just start looking at everything that they want me to do. And then I just get sick because I'm like, I just don't want to waste my talent designing for somebody else's dream. And then I go back. I think that when you're an entrepreneur and there is something in you that wants to create something, that wants to do something that you were put here to do, there is nothing that you can do to stop it. And that's exactly why I always come back to this. I feel like, yeah, and there are some people that started off on the 9-to-5 first, and it is difficult to break from that stability to the unknown. But when that thing starts tugging at your soul, at your spirit, you just can't let it go. I think it's just how some people are wired, some people aren't. Like you and I, man, that's how we're wired. There's just something about creating something here that's going to change the world. And the status quo is just not enough. But that's not to say there's nothing wrong with the 9-to-5. I mean, that's the backbone of our society. But there's something about being an entrepreneur that creates that environment for people to have that stable life.
Okay, then what is it what's Selim's biggest fear? What do you fear, right? You do a lot. You get outside of your comfort zone. What is the thing that you find fearful?
Wow, that's a good question.
Put you on the spot, Selim.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the spot right now. That is a great question. My biggest fear is that I will be disappointed so much that I will go to my plan B and regret every bit of it, even when I get to the end of it. My biggest fear is definitely quitting my plan A.
And what's your plan B?
I don't even want to say it because I don't even speak it to existence. Well, my plan, let's just call it plan C, because I would rather do, I don't even know what B is, but I'd rather be doing it than my plan C. I'll just call it plan C. It was to go into dentistry. And everybody would be like, oh, you'd be a great dentist. I mean, I started off as pre-med when I was in college, got good grades, but I just was miserable doing it. And so that's definitely my plan C. If I have to go back, of course, people look at it, oh, you're successful, you're a dentist, you're doing well. But inside, I'm gonna be like, dang, I failed. I wasn't able to make my dreams come true with my plan A. So yeah, I think that's my biggest fear, is quitting, not failing, because failing, when you fail, sometimes you got to fail forward, and it just helps you get to your success. But I think quitting is my biggest fear, just being disappointed so badly, being so disillusioned with my dream that I just drop it all. That's definitely my biggest.
Well, I mean, especially what you're talking about dreams and trying to motivate people. Sometimes we don't know, or people don't know that they're motivating people just by their physical presence.
That's true.
Some people that are saying, I really want to get to the Olympics. I really want to get there. But understand that even for somebody that's there, that's gone it twice, you still have doubts. You still sometimes want to quit, but you continue moving forward.
Definitely.
Same thing with business.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with school. You know, I usually say that with all of us, if we want to get to that next stage, we understand that's not going to be easy, and it shouldn't be easy.
Exactly.
Because if it was easy, then
everybody would do it.
Everybody would do it. Selim, good question. You know, you do a lot of stuff. And one of the things that we really want to do on the show, Impact Today, is about really what we do is we highlight, you know, big people doing big things. What type of impact do you feel like you're making on the world?
My biggest impact I feel like I'm making on the world is, from a design standpoint, is I feel like my field, it's in trouble. It's under attack because the values of it are lowered. People don't know the value in what I'm doing. So I have to kind of create an awareness and educate people on what I'm doing, how it impacts business, how it impacts your feelings, all those kind of things. So that's what I feel in my design. I feel like I'm not revitalizing, but I feel like I'm just bringing this new value to the design field. Just changing the way, I'm changing it from this thing that is turned into, you know, where anybody's doing it and calling it design. The beauty of it's been taken out and replaced with this cheap thing, you know, and people aren't able to see what makes this so important. So that's how I'm going to change the world. That's how my business is going to impact the world, by taking what I did as a young child that just loved to draw and bringing that to the design medium. So people can see that, and it's invoking more of that value, so people can really look at it and be like, yes, like this is not just a logo, this is art, this is thought-provoking work, and I am proud to put my business behind this symbol. That's how we're trying to change the world.
Right, and I think we got somebody, I mean, one of the comments, I'm actually just gonna highlight this, but from PJ, she's talking about, from an athlete to a designer, it's quite a leap. What advice would you give to those who want to take that leap of faith but not lose ourselves in the process? You know, another impact, somebody probably trying to make an impact on the world as well. Like, what advice would you give to that?
Lose yourself in, how do you lose yourself in a process? That's what I want to know. Like, what is that? If you can explain to me, like, how do you lose yourself in a process?
Because sometimes you got I would say this, for me, you know, when you go into the entrepreneurial space,
yes,
nobody cares if you've been around for a year, you've been around for 100 years. You're all in that same space. So making sure that you still hold your values and make sure that you have pressures of family, you have pressures of friends, you have pressures to your coworkers, to your employees. And how do you find that balance? And how are you able, when everything seems lost, to still be like, this is who I am, right? How do you fight all that pressures? Because you can be pulled in multiple different directions. How do you find that?
That's very true. And I know my wife's probably looking at me like, yeah, really, how do you do that? I think that balance comes, probably for me, it comes from a young age. Like when I was young and having to focus on my studies, but at the same time having to, you know, do my sports. So I was trying to excel in the books, but at the same time trying to excel on the track and the basketball court, trying to be the best I could be in all those different directions. I feel like now, even though I'm far removed from school and, you know, all that, there's still something in me that's like, I need to succeed at all these things, because all these things, the success in all these things, they're pieces of me. And if I don't do the most I can do out of these things, a part of me is lost. And it doesn't define me, but they're compositions, they're parts of me. And so that's why I have to take every bit of them. Every bit of them is a part of me. So, you know, I'm able to talk with my wife about track and everything like that. And we're also able to go over my business. She knows that all these things are what composes me and makes me Selim.
So okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna touch on that, because I was like, you're talking about these are all you, Selim.
Yes.
So I want to, like, a follow-up to that is like, how do people find their authentic selves, especially when the whole world is telling them to be this and to be that?
You have to
be the creative them.
When are you, as a person, like when in your life when are you the most lucid? Are you the most clear? Are you the most free? It's as a child. So you kind of have to go back. What is it about you that made you excited about life? You have to take that thing and you have to bring it, and yet you have to let it grow. And I think that's what a lot of people would do, is that they would extinguish whatever that flame was that they had when they were younger, and they just let the world trample over it and just keep on going by their daily lives and never really knowing what the purpose is. But for me, I knew at a young age what excited me. And I might not have been able to do what excited me as a child, but I took those feelings and I was able to apply it to the different things I do in life. So it's like I take my purpose and my passion from when I was younger, not my purpose, but my passion. I take my passion from when I was younger and I sprinkle it on these different things, and whatever grows, that's like what my passion is. And like, let's say, when I was young, I like to draw pictures. I like to draw superheroes and stuff like that. I still like to draw superheroes, but let's say, I like to draw all that stuff, and I might, being a comic book artist, that maybe that's not my dream. So it's like, how can I take that passion I would feel, and how do I create something? How do I create something that's living and breathing, that's gonna get me up every morning? I have to pull that from my childhood and grow it right now. And that's kind of what I've been doing. And that's what's really going to help you. You have to go back to what excited you as a child, because, I mean, let's be honest, you as an adult is a trampled version of yourself. It's been heavily influenced by everything of this world.
Oof, deep. That's very deep. So, I mean, Selim, I really appreciate the conversation. Your advice that you're giving just regarding just getting over the hurdle, literally, because you are a hurdler, and figuratively. What's next for you, man?
What's next?
Yeah, what's next? What's the next thing on the plate? What you looking for? What's coming up?
Well, of course, growing my business. Now it's definitely taking designers, especially from a young age, and really teaching them the values of design that I love and that I think the world is going to love. And just teaching them to follow their dreams and teaching them the value of the design field. That's my next thing. In terms of sports, after the Olympics, well, it's not another Olympics, that's for sure. But, of course, stay fit. It's always a good thing. I want to do some teaching. I think that's going to be a really important thing of me, because, as you know, I have my MBA and a master's in design. I feel like that's an area that a lot of designers don't focus on, is the business end of design. A lot of schools teach their designers to be employees. And so you have a talent that you're just sitting on, waiting on somebody to answer, to call about your resume or something like that. And you're just sitting there not doing anything, or, you can create work, real world work, without having to even go out and do anything. Like me, I've never had a 9-to-5 design job. There was a need for something. I had the skills, the passion to do it, and boom, that was the equation for success. So I really feel like I lost my train of thought.
No, I mean,
it was going somewhere. It was getting good.
It was good. I loved it. I loved every little bit of it. But it's no, obviously, Selim, you hold a lot of passion for the work you do. And obviously you have to have that type of passion to be able to push through so many of those barriers and live the life you truly want to live. Yes. Any final words, anything that you want to just let everybody that's listening just know, any final last important words?
What's big on me is, you said quite a bit that, you're doing a lot of things, but I think it's just really important that you never know when you're going to go. You never know where somebody's going to hit you with a bus or, something like that. You're going to get eaten by a pack of wild dogs. You never know. And I just think that you want to die on E. You want to be able to be like, I did everything I could in this lifetime, and I have no regrets. I might not have gotten to where I wanted to get to, but I know I tried. And I think about that a lot. You know, I'll be like, man, if I went today, would I be okay with that? And I'm like, you know what? I did. I lived my life dangerously. I lived my life passionately, and I'm okay with that. So that's what I would tell. That's what I would leave everybody with, is make sure that you die on E. Make sure that you're pursuing your passion and you are living life dangerously. And you're like, okay, I'm good. I'm okay with that. I'm okay to go. Because I think that would be the worst thing, would be to be on your deathbed. That should have been my number one fear, but it's all right.
There's always a time you can say that. No, Selim, I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. And there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of different things within their lives. And so, like, if anybody wants to connect with Selim on the design process or on getting over some of those hurdles, we've already, scheduled a time where you can connect with him 15 minutes, just to talk to him about, like, what's the Olympics like? What's designing like? What's starting a business like? And just share some of his advice and his impact. But other than that way for you to connect with Selim through that consultation, what are other ways people can get in contact with you? How can they see some of your design work? How can they see some of the stuff you do? What's the best way for them to get in touch of Selim Nurudeen?
Visit at www.sinvistacreations.com. We're doing some working on our branding and, a little bit of construction going on, but take a look. You can also find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter. You can also see my website for my comic book, tag-comic.com. Take a look at that. Tell us what you think. Or what other platforms are there? We're on LinkedIn as well. So we're, we try to be on all the social medias, but just, take a look. We're there, and don't feel, don't be afraid to contact us. We'll respond quickly.
Well, great, Selim. You've been a pleasure to connect with, a good friend. You're doing a lot of great stuff. So this episode, our first episode of Impact Today, just highlighting big people doing big, amazing things around the world and also making an impact and making this world a better place. I'm Coach AK, the founder and the executive director of Empower to Play. You can check us out at empowertoplay.org. We're also on social media as well. I believe that no matter who you are, no matter your background, that you can make an impact on the world. Today, we talked with Selim Nurudeen about how he's making an impact on the world. Next episode, we got Kelly Peeler, the CEO and founder of Next Gen Vest. That's going to be talking about financial planning for students. So that's going to be a fun one. Once again, Selim, thank you for being on the show today. I just want to thank everybody for listening. And thank you. We're out.
Having me. It's been a pleasure.